Welcome back, dear listener. The day is over now. The air outside has softened, the world is quiet again. You've done enough. All that remains is to rest. If you like, you can close your eyes. Let your breath find a gentle rhythm in and out. Each exhale carries you a little farther from the noise of the day and a little closer to the calm that waits beneath it. Tonight, we're going somewhere quieter than sleep itself. Imagine a night in early spring. The air is cool, still touched by winter, but the earth has begun to wake. There's the faint scent of rain on the wind, wet soil, moss, and the first stirring of green beneath the ground. You stand at the edge of a narrow path. Moonlight spills across the stones like spilled milk, and the sound of crickets hums softly in the fields beyond. Up ahead, there's an old iron gate tangled with ivy. Beyond it lies a forgotten garden, overgrown, shadowed, and silent. The world here feels different. The air carries a quiet energy, as though something just beneath the surface is holding its breath. You reach out, run your fingers over the cool metal of the gate, and push gently. It opens with a sigh. Inside, the garden waits, a place where roots have learned the shape of darkness, where time moves in slower circles, and where, tonight, something new is about to awaken. So breathe with me, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let the scent of earth and rain fill your lungs. Let your thoughts soften like petals folding in the dark. Tonight, we'll visit a garden that learned to grow, even without the sun. Elara had lived in the little stone house by the forest for as long as she could remember. The garden behind it had once been her pride, a wild tapestry of lavender, jasmine, and ivy that climbed the old brick walls. But seasons pass, and time has a way of growing silent. Years ago, when an illness stole her sight, Elara stopped tending the flowers as she once did. At first, she tried to keep working, her hands guiding her through memory, counting steps, tracing soil, measuring sunlight by the warmth on her skin. But soon the plants began to wither. The colors she once loved so fiercely faded into memory, and her garden became only scent and texture. Still, every evening, she would walk the same narrow path between the beds, fingertips brushing against dry stems and brittle leaves. She knew them all, every patch of moss, every curve of bark. The soil beneath her feet remembered her too. Even when it yielded no bloom, it held her steps gently, as if waiting for something she could no longer name. The villagers pitied her, calling her garden the sleeping field. They said nothing could grow there anymore. But Elara didn't believe that. She couldn't see the light, yet she felt its echo in the warmth of her palms and in the way the wind lingered at the gate, as though it wanted to whisper something only she could hear. Every night, she would stand among the silent beds and say softly, "I can't see you, but I remember you." And perhaps that was enough. One night, near the end of spring, the sky dimmed strangely. The moon had turned the color of copper, its light fading, until the garden was wrapped in a deeper shade of dark than usual. Elara stood at the window listening. The world outside held its breath. Even the crickets had gone still. Drawn by a feeling she couldn't name, she took her cane and stepped outside. The earth beneath her bare feet felt warmer than it should. When she reached the center of the garden, she knelt, pressing her palm flat against the soil. Something pulsed beneath her hand, a soft, steady rhythm like a heartbeat. Then she heard it, a faint hum, low and tender, rising from below the ground. The air trembled gently, and when she leaned closer, she smelled something alive, wet moss and sweetness, like rain meeting roots. She reached down, fingers brushing across something new. A small shoot, smooth and trembling, had broken through the soil. It was warm to the touch, and though she could not see it, Elara felt a glow against her skin. The next night, Elara returned to the garden. The air felt different now, charged, alive, humming quietly beneath the silence. She didn't need her cane this time. She followed the faint warmth that rose from the soil like a path only she could sense. When she knelt where the first sprout had appeared, her hands brushed across new shoots, dozens of them, trembling in the night air. They were soft as silk, their stems cool and damp, yet each one seemed to hum faintly when her fingertips passed over them. The melody was barely there, just a whisper of vibration, like breath moving through strings. She pressed her palm flat and felt it again, that strange living pulse. It was slower than a heartbeat, steadier than wind. Each throb of warmth spread through her skin and up her arms until she could feel it in her chest. Elara smiled without realizing it. She leaned forward and whispered, "I don't know what you are, but you're here." In response, the hum deepened, soft and content. The air filled with a faint scent, something she remembered from long ago, the sweetness of night-blooming jasmine, the flower her mother used to braid into her hair. Elara began to hum, matching the rhythm beneath her hands. And slowly, the garden answered her, the soft vibration of leaves swaying in time, soil shifting like it was breathing. Though she could not see, she felt light all around her, gentle and alive, blooming quietly through the dark. Elara returned each night, and the garden met her with fragrance before her hands found the paths. At first, it was only the clean breath of wet soil, but then the air gathered notes she had not tasted in years. Closest to the gate, a cluster of leaves released the scent of black tea warmed with honey. She smiled. Her mother used to brew it on winter evenings, steam winding through the kitchen, while rain softened the roof. Elara leaned down and inhaled again. The memory arrived whole and gentle. The tap of a porcelain spoon, the feel of wool sleeves, her mother's laugh like a candle flame, brightening a room. Farther in, a line of low plants breathed pine and lemon. That was her father's workbench, oil on tools, wood shavings underfoot, the patient rasp of sandpaper. She reached out, touching the ribbed leaves. The smell made the dark feel generous, as if the past were opening a door and inviting her to step inside without hurry. Near the old stone wall, something fragile exhaled a blush of peach and rain. Summer evenings came back, barefoot steps on warm flagstones, a cicada chorus, the soft ache of a day spent well. Elara's chest loosened. None of these plants were ones she had planted that season, yet they had found the scents she needed, the exact threads to stitch her back to herself. She whispered, "Thank you," and the fragrances deepened, as if the garden were drawing breath with her, in memory, out in comfort, weaving a small, invisible garland around her shoulders. On the third night, she decided not to rely on scent alone. Kneeling, she let her palms read the beds like pages. Texture told her what eyes once had. The first stems she found were sleek, cool cylinders, beads of dew gathering in even rows. The leaves were narrow, smooth along the edge, folding back against her fingers like ribbon. They didn't resist, they welcomed. She pictured a pale spear rising, a flower that would open in quiet, precise layers. To the left, the ground softened into a cushion of moss so thick her fingertips sank with a soundless sigh. It held a chill from the stone beneath, but its surface pulsed with a slow warmth, the steady exchange between earth and air. She pressed her palm there and felt steadied, as if the world had placed a hand over hers and agreed to keep time. Along the path, she met a plant with leaves like paper fans, their veins raised and delicate. The edges were notched, and each notch caught the pad of her finger as if marking a line in a poem. Another plant wore star-shaped leaves, tiny hairs along their surfaces, teasing her touch to softness, urging her to slow. There were rough textures too, a stem ridged like a whispered warning, bark that carried the memory of storms. She did not pull away. Roughness had a right to be here. It reminded her that growth kept its records openly, that every surface was a diary of weather and chance. By the time she stood, soil traced her palms in fine lines. She laughed under her breath, not because she knew what each plant looked like, but because she didn't need to. The garden had taught her a new alphabet, one her hands could read long after the sun went down. On the fourth night, Elara came with a simple thought. Listen, then answer. She sat cross-legged in the center bed and rested her fingertips lightly on the soil. The hum she had felt before was present again, a low tone, almost below hearing, steady as tidewater under stones. She breathed in time with it. With each inhale, the hum seemed to rise a fraction, gathering like dawn behind hills. With each exhale, it settled, smoothing itself into the ground. Then, something new. A faint chiming like glass touched by a fingertip. She stilled. The note was not singular. It was a small chorus scattered around her, each plant sounding its own clear, soft pitch. Together they formed a simple harmony that did not ask to be solved. It asked to be kept. Elara answered with a hum of her own, untrained, quiet, honest. She let the tone find its place between the garden's notes, not above, not below. The air changed temperature, or perhaps her skin learned a new way to feel it. Leaves brushed one another. A petal loosened from its bud and landed near her knee with the quiet of a thought arriving. As she sustained the note, the ground gave a gentle tremor, like sleeping breath turning into a sigh. It wasn't the shake of roots breaking soil. It was the movement of something inside choosing to open. The chorus brightened, then softened, as if the garden had nodded. Elara stopped humming and listened to the after-sound, that tender space where music lingers once it has finished being heard. The night felt full but unburdened. She whispered, "I hear you." And the garden's answer was a silence that held her like arms. Before dawn on the fifth night, a petal brushed her wrist. She caught it by instinct. It was cool and thin as breath, edges curling inward as if conserving a small secret. Without thinking, she touched it to her tongue. The taste surprised her, not sweetness at first, but rain. Clean, mineral, bright, like water traveled through stone. Then, as the petal warmed, a gentle flavor unfolded. Green apple peeled beside an open window. A trace of mint, the faintest shadow of clover. The combination was not rich, it was clear. It tasted like being forgiven. Elara laughed, a small, startled sound that felt young in her mouth. She pressed the petal against the roof of her mouth to keep the taste a moment longer. When it faded, it left a coolness that made the word morning seem possible even in darkness. She gathered 2 more fallen petals and placed them on her palm, not to eat, but to learn the weight of them. Almost nothing, yet their presence tipped the balance of the night toward promise. The air shifted. A breeze moved through the beds, and a ripple traveled leaf to leaf, like a message passed down a long table. Somewhere beyond the wall, a bird tested a single careful note. Elara stood with the help of the low border stones she'd memorized. "I can't see you," she said softly to the garden, "but I know what you taste like when dawn is near." In answer, the hum in the soil deepened once and settled, like a heart deciding to rest. The dark remained, but it felt companioned. She turned toward the house, steady and light-footed, as if she were carrying a small sun cupped in both hands, one made of scent, touch, song, and the aftertaste of rain. The following night, Elara lingered at the gate instead of walking straight in. She didn't feel the need to search or test or understand anymore. The air that drifted toward her carried the same soft hum, the same warmth that had filled her palms for days. But tonight, she realized it wasn't only the garden that had changed. For the first time in years, she wasn't afraid of the dark. It no longer felt like something that had taken something from her. It was simply another form of light, quieter, slower, deeper. She knelt and pressed her hand to the earth once more. The soil answered with a faint vibration, a calm pulse that matched her heartbeat. It wasn't asking her to plant, or to care, or to give. It was telling her, "You already have." Tears welled in her eyes, though she didn't feel sadness, only release. The garden had grown from everything she thought she'd lost, from her songs, her memories, her patience, her grief. It had never needed sunlight. It had only needed her. She whispered, "You didn't bloom because of me. You bloomed with me." And as her words faded into the quiet, the hum beneath her hand stilled, settling into the steady rhythm of peace. At dawn, the villagers came looking for her. They had seen a strange glow rising from the forest, soft, shifting colors like lanterns hidden beneath the trees. When they reached her gate, they stopped in silence. The garden was still in shadow, yet the soil shimmered faintly, scattered with tiny lights, not bright enough to blind, only enough to show that something living was breathing there. The air smelled of jasmine and rain, and a low hum lingered like the memory of a song. Elara stood near the center bed, her hands resting on the cane she no longer truly needed. Someone whispered, "What have you done?" She smiled and tilted her head toward the sound. "Nothing," she said softly. "I just remembered how to listen." The villagers didn't know what she meant, but none of them moved. Even the wind seemed to pause, as if unwilling to disturb the silence. And when the first ray of sunlight finally reached the garden, the faint lights within the soil shimmered once, then quietly sank back into the earth. That night, when the village had gone still again, Elara sat among her garden beds one last time. The air was warm, brushed with the scent of leaves drying after dew. Crickets murmured softly, keeping the slow rhythm that marked the end of every long day. She no longer needed to search for the glow. She could feel it all around her, in the quiet pulse of the soil, in the rise and fall of her breath. Each inhale drew the scent of earth and jasmine. Each exhale carried her deeper into rest. She leaned back against the old stone wall, fingers trailing through the soft moss. The hum beneath her had quieted now, not gone, only resting, like the low heartbeat of the world itself. Somewhere above, an owl called once, then silence folded over the sound, gentle and complete. Elara closed her eyes and let her head rest against the cool stone. The garden breathed with her, leaf to leaf, root to root, each sound blending into the next, until there was no separation between them, only stillness. The darkness around her was no longer empty. It was full of life, of warmth, of quiet motion unseen. And though she couldn't see it, she knew that somewhere under the soil, the roots were still growing, slowly, patiently, without asking for witness. She smiled. "You can rest now," she whispered to the garden. The earth answered with a faint shift, like a sigh before sleep. The night settled back into silence, and Elara, wrapped in the soft breath of her garden, drifted into sleep, peaceful, unafraid, and blooming quietly in the dark. The night deepens, the garden sleeps. Beneath the soil, roots stretch and coil, tracing slow shapes through the dark. Patient, certain, alive. Somewhere in that quiet, Elara's breath mingles with the earth's, steady and calm. The hum has faded now, but its echo remains, carried in every grain of soil that once held her hands. And perhaps, as you rest now, you can feel it too. The quiet promise that growth never stops, that even in darkness, something gentle is reaching upward. So let the night wrap around you like soft soil, safe and warm. And let your thoughts drift down where dreams take root. Good night. The garden is still